Hello. This is a follow-up to the rollover description in an earlier video. So this is a follow-up to that. So if you want to know how that rollover works, I recommend you go and check out that video first. These images are rolling over, but sometimes you want to click with a navigation that's internal inside a single page. Sometimes you want it to remember that it's been clicked and hold to a different image. So this describes how to do that. Okay, so the structure is the same as the original basic example. If you look to the code, there's a couple of additions. So this is the original code from that original example, just swapping and replacing those names. The click and swap works this very similarly. So the key to this is that the document needs to remember, or JavaScript needs to remember, which button we had clicked prior. So whenever we click a button, we need to say, hey, this is the button that's been clicked. So it can turn that one off when another one has been clicked. So if you look, here's where we've declared that variable. Variables are just little storage containers for important information. So I've created one just by using the keyword var, giving it a name clicked, and then I set it equal to null, which means it has no value. On line 21, when we click any of these buttons that have been identified with this class image swap, it sets the clicked to the value of the button that had been clicked. So whenever I click any of these buttons, any of these image swaps, it sets it to the button that's been clicked. So it gets stored here on line 21. Once we have that, it does a little test here. So this is the confusing part, I guess. Sure some of it could all be confusing, but currently none of them have been clicked. So currently clicked equals null because none have been clicked. So when I click it the first time, we have to ask, has any of them been clicked yet? And when we first approach this, none of them have been clicked yet. So the answer is no, none of them have been clicked yet. So there's not a previous button to turn off. So we have to do this little test here, and it just asks, is clicked, is there anything, has any button been set to click yet? That's the translation of this statement. And the answer is no the first time out. The second time out, the answer is yes. So what this is saying is click, does click not equal null? Well, on the first bit, it does equal null, and so the answer is yes, so it doesn't do this statement because there's nothing to turn off. Then it sets, let's say I click button 1. The answer is no, it doesn't do any of this, and then it just sets clicked to this first button, and then does the swapping much like, or exactly like it swaps on rollover. The next time I click, let's say I click button 2, button 1 is initiated. So we'll just go over to our test. So I've clicked 1, now clicked equals this button. And so when I click 2, that little test, does it not equal null? That answer is no, yes, it does not equal null. And so we need to swap the old one. So clicked gets saved. Clicked is the past one that's gotten clicked, so it swaps that back. So that's how we reset the previous one that had been clicked. This type of logic, it's confusing at first. My hope is to do some more conditional statement logic just to reinforce that idea, but it's the gist of how we set things off and reset them. We save them as variables. We do a little condition statement to see if anything needs to be done, if that statement is true or false. We set up parameters for those options. So that's basically it. That's how you would do an image rollover and then an image click, and it remembers. One caveat: this is just for a local page, a single page. This won't remember page to page. So if you set this up in HTML and this is like a main head, and I click and I go to another page, it's not going to remember. It's going to reset all those variables, and so that's a different setup. FYI. Okay, well, that's it. Happy clicking.